everybody, and welcome back. My name is Kari and I am covered in dog hair, but that's not the point. Ignore the dog barking. Today I am here to tell you about the books I read in April. I read 26 books in April somehow. The first one I read was Life of Pi by Jan Martel. This is apparently a philosophy book and nobody told me that when I started it. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks to give me some sort of noise during the day. Hey! Will you two play quieter? No, River, down. Nuh-uh. Especially not then. No, especially not then. Oh, down, Melody. So there's Life of Pi. I gave that one, I think, a 2.5, maybe a 3-star. I could see why people would like the writing. I don't really understand the hype. Then I read Circe by Madeline Miller, which is a retelling of the Odyssey, basically from Circe's point of view. I gave that one 3 stars. It was fine. I didn't, again, really understand the hype. Then I read the book nobody read, Chasing the Revolutions of Nicholas Copernicus by Owen Gingerich. This is a nonfiction about a book that Copernicus wrote and had published in 1543. No, Melody, about the heliocentric system that we live in. I actually really enjoyed that one. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was really well written. It was fascinating to learn about all of these people and about this book that nobody's ever heard of, and it traced the provenance of this book and of all the known, I guess, versions left. So there's still a couple hundred printings. River, leave her alone. Then I read The Clockwork Universe, which is by Edward Dolnick, and it's about Isaac Newton and the Royal Society. Hey! That was interesting. I think I gave it, let's check. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm sorry I'm on my phone this whole time. I'm trying to do this before 20 minutes is up because that's all my camera films. So we're getting very, brief things. Anyway, oh God. Hey! I'm gonna... No. So I read that. It was good. I think it was a little heavy on the not Isaac Newton bits. And then I read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. 4 stars, I think, maybe 3. 4 stars because it is a really good book. It is Harry Potter. I enjoyed it. It's still not my favorite though. Then I read A Torch Against the Night by Sabatier, which is the second book in the Ember and the Ashes series. I gave that one, let's see, 3 stars. Again, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I was so upset at the character death in that one though, without spoilers. Oh my goodness. It definitely threw in some twists and I could, again, see how people really like it. It's just not super for me. Then I read 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott, which I gave 5 stars. It is a YA contemporary following 2 teenagers who are in the hospital with some sort of respiratory disease. Not COVID, because that wasn't a thing, but some sort of respiratory disease. And one of them has something where if they give it to the other or anybody else with the same disease, they're completely screwed. There's a movie with Cole Sprouse, and I loved that. The book and the movie were really close, so I'm very happy with the movie. But this book was just so sad and heart-wrenching, and the fact that they're supposed to be 6 feet apart was very appropriate for quarantine. Then I read Dark and Deepest Red by Anna Marie McLemore, which is a dual perspective following one of the Romani? I'm sorry, I can never remember which one it is. I think it's Roma. People in nowadays, as well as following somebody in 1518 when there's a dancing plague in Strasbourg. That was fantastic. I loved the representation in this. There is trans rep, there is Roma rep, or Romani, again, I'm sorry. And it was so great. Then we have The Woman in the Castle by Jessica Shattuck. This was women post-World War II. I think I give this a 3 out of 5. I don't really remember this book, which is a good indication it should probably go down to a 2. Oh no, I definitely gave that one a 2. Did I? What on earth is this book even about? I didn't rate this book because, oh yeah, this one. It required a lot more attention than I could give it. Again, working while I listened, and so it didn't go well. Then I read The Underground Abductor, Lafayette, and Major Impossible, and Rate of No Return by Nathan Hale. If you want to see more about these graphic novels, I will link the reviewing and rating of all 9 of them down below. But to suffice to say, they're all amazing. Then I read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I would definitely recommend the audiobook for this. I can't imagine it being great as a physical book, but the audiobook was highly enjoyable. The characters aren't particularly likable, but I think I did give it a 3 or a 4 out of 5 stars because it was a good book. It was enjoyable. I gave it 4. I probably won't reread it, or at least not soon, but it was fun. Then I read The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh, which I gave 5 stars. Amazing. YA fantasy. It's the last book in a duology, and oh, so good. I love the romance, and the setting is amazing. The food and the descriptions, oh god, I love it. Then I read Merry Christmas, Geraldine by Holly Keller, which is a children's book. That was fun. I gave it, I think, 3 stars, maybe 4. It's a good book for kids. It was just something I bought for a friend. Then I read Empire of the Stars by Arthur Miller, which is about the quest for black holes. And specifically, it follows a scientist who is known as Chandra. I can't remember his full name. He is Indian, and he goes to the UK in the 1930s to study at Oxford or Cambridge, some really prestigious British university. And he discovers black holes and accepts black holes a lot sooner than the rest of the world, because the rest of the world, the scientific world, is still hung up on the fact that infinity is the devil. That one I loved. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. It was so good. Then I read The Night Tiger by Yang C. Chu, which was also an audiobook, and I gave that one 4 stars. The folklore was fantastic. It was pretty easy to follow as well. The sister and stepbrother thing was I was ambivalent towards that, but then I read To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I hated this book the first time I read it in high school, and I hate it now. It is as my colleague put it, a feel-good story for white people. And that is literally what it is. There's no point for this book to ever be taught in schools again. It is useless. Then I read Wars of the Irish Kings by David McCullough. This was not what I expected. It was a collection of excerpts from primary sources over the course of about 600 years in Irish history, which was fascinating, but not what I expected going into it. I think I gave it a 3 stars, 2.5, because I recognized it could be really good for finding primary sources, for finding out what you want, but I didn't really like it because it wasn't what I wanted. Then I read The Little Paris Bookshop by Nina George, which is just super cute. There's romance woven throughout it. There's a book-selling barge on the sign. I don't speak French. And it was very cute. I liked that one. I gave it 4 out of 5. Then I read The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. This is a graphic novel, and I gave it 5 out of 5. Can I think of it? Gender fluid. There we go. Gender fluid rep. I loved the illustrations. I loved the simplicity, but yet the complexity of the story. And it was just adorable. Then I read The White Queen by Philippa Gregory. I gave that one 3 because I enjoy Philippa Gregory in small doses. I think she just goes far too much to the gossip mongering and supernatural for me. Next, I read Hidden Fingers, The Untold Story of the African-American Women Who Helped Win the Space Race by Margot Shetterly. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. I think it did a really good job of showing where these women were from, where they were going, the hurdles that they had to overcome as women and black, and just all of these different things. I think the organization was great, the writing was pretty good. It was sometimes a little bit heavy on the math, but it was really good otherwise. Then I read The Queen's Bed, An Intimate History of Elizabeth's Court by Anna Whitelock. This was a nonfiction about Elizabeth, and 5 stars. I loved it. It definitely was dense, but it was amazing, and it went through her relationship with her ladies-in-waiting, certain members of her court like Leicester and Essex and Walsingham, in great depth. I loved the fact that it was chronological, so she went essentially by year. The one, I guess, problem that I did have was it wasn't year by year by year. It was, for the most part, year by year, but then every once in a while she would skip 2 or 3 years, and so that kind of threw me off. And the last book I read was King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is the start of a new duology about Nikolai. I went into this not thinking it would be about Nikolai a whole lot. It turns out it was about him a lot more than I thought. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. You can tell she's improving with each book she writes, which is lovely. I really liked the politics. I think that was really fun. I did enjoy watching the characters grow. Zoya in particular and Nina were fantastic. I loved it. But yeah, those are all of the books that I read in April. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!